Last week, we left Calumet City and Ramona's Bakery to head north to Copper Harbor. Once we arrived in Copper Harbor, we made a right turn and headed to Fort Wilkins State Park. And since we had the Michigan State Park Pass, we were waved right through the gate. Fort Wilkins was built in 1844 to help keep peace between the miners and the Ojibwe Indians. The fort was abandoned after the Civil War and was purchased by Houghton and Keweenaw counties in the 1920s. Soon after, it became a state park. Before you even enter the fort, there were several buildings dedicated to support service, including those people who washed the uniforms of the soldiers. These buildings have been converted into part of the museum, and they detail what life was like in this pre-Civil War fort. Just inside the entrance to the fort, there is the bakehouse, which of course baked bread. And then the blacksmith shop. As luck would have it, we visited during a reenactment. So not only were there soldiers here, but there were also their wives and children.
this particular fort was built in the late 1830s as staff to kind of keep the peace between the miners and the Ojibwe Indians. And the garrison here was removed during the Civil War, naturally, because they needed soldiers then. And after the Civil War, it was re-garrisoned by soldiers who still had time on their enlistment. They didn't know where to put them, so they put them in here.
Oh, okay.
So there never was a battle fought around here. There never was anything here. Basically, it was a big release.
Thank you.
You want to go watch the fashion show?
I'm sweaty.
It started to fall.
Trying to find a cool place.
It started to fall into disrepair, and then in the 1930s, they started to upgrade it, and now it's part of the state park system, and also under the control of the department.
All right, so we're going to stay for the, I guess it would be Civil War era. Civil War era, pre-Civil War era fashion show. They have all types of programs going on. They have artillery shooting at 2, medicine demonstration at 3, another artillery at 4, and I guess formations at 5. But since we have a 3-hour drive, we're not going to be able to see all that.
No.
So we're going to probably stay for the fashion show and then head back up to the parking lot.
Oh, that's a different one.
Little brother.
Lace them all the way down. That's all. That's the only way to get them on and off. They're not very comfortable. They didn't have arch supports back then.
Right.
So they're not very comfortable. That's what makes the skirt stick out. And people always ask, how do you sit down? It's easy to sit down. It just flattens. But the problem is going to the bathroom with all these layers on.
Sun.
For the sun, ladies were not supposed to get their face tanned. That's another reason for the gloves. If you had your hands tanned, you were considered, you were probably lower income and you had to do all the work outside yourself. Because ladies that had money didn't do it.
This is Silas. He is a boy. He is wearing a little white dress because boys and girls wore almost the same thing up until 9 months to a year. He has a little white bonnet on, and he has a little cloth diaper on him. They would use cloth diapers with just white cotton, like an evening gown or a ball gown, and you can see a little bit through the sleeves, so it was not a work dress. And I have Lex Smith, and Lexi has more, and Lexi also is not wearing any shoes. So her family, especially for families that did not have a lot of money, they wanted to save those shoes for the wintertime when you had to wear shoes. The children would often go barefoot during the summer months. And her dress would be a dress where she could help her mother around the home, or help with laundry, or help with cooking.
Probably more like a work dress.
Yeah, no.
Or a day dress. She just got this dress. We got that online. It was handmade.
All right, Fort Wilkins is pretty good. We had no idea there'd be so much there, or else we would have allotted more time.
Yep.
But we're going to head off on our way. We still have probably a 3.5, 4-hour drive to get to our next campground in Land O'Lakes, Wisconsin. So
Yeah.
we got to get moving.
We didn't really plan this out.
We didn't plan this out very well. After a very short drive, we stopped by to this plaque showing the record snowfall of the 1978 to 1979 winter season. From there, we continued southward to Land O'Lakes, Wisconsin, and the Nature RV Park. After a long day, we settled in, relaxed, and I fired up the Nomad grill. For dinner, we are having the Reuben brats that we bought at Nowicki Sausage Shop in Alpena, Michigan. I set up a 2-zone grill with the charcoal on the left side and the right side being empty, and I let the brats smoke on the right side of the grill. After about 20 minutes, I moved the brats over to the hot side of the grill to get some color, and then I sauteed some onions to go along with it. Okay, these are the Reuben brats from Nowicki Sausage Shop in Alpena.
Oh, it does good. It feels better.
Good morning. We are currently at the Nature RV Resort in Land O'Lakes, Wisconsin. If you look around this place, I think this is pretty much the perfect RV park. It doesn't have much in the way of amenities, but we don't really need anything. We found this on Hip Camp, so this is a Hip Camp success compared to our first night on Hip Camp. Full hookups, electric, water, sewer, and it also has Wi-Fi throughout the park. Now, we didn't use the Wi-Fi because we have Starlink, so I'm not sure how it is, but I think I'll turn off Starlink today and check it out anyway. Last night was perfectly quiet. We ran the air conditioner for the first part of the night because it was in the 80s when we went to sleep. But in the morning, we opened up the windows, turned on the fans, and it was a very nice cool breeze coming through. Today has a high of about 80, so maybe we'll just stick with the fans all day. We are going to do nothing today. Hang around the van, do some straightening up, reorganizing. I'll probably edit some videos, and Janetta's going to watch the Olympics. 2 things I forgot to mention. All the sites are pull through, and this particular resort is 25 plus, meaning no kids. We spent a few days at a couple of state parks. The kids were running rampant, up early in the morning, riding their bikes, screaming at each other. So it's nice to wake up to peace and quiet for a few days. Let me give you a quick tour around the park. At the entrance is the park office, but it's also the home where Dwayne and Matt, the owners, live. There are 24 sites around this RV park that all sit around this central pond. The sites are all very well separated, and there is enough wooded area to keep the place cool. Guests also have access to unlimited split firewood. There are trails, both short and long, and we took the shorter trail to the North Observation Tower. Good morning. It is Sunday, July 29th, and we are still here at the Nature RV Resort. This is probably one of the best RV parks we've ever been at. I wouldn't really call it an RV park. It's more like a place in the woods. It has about 26 sites, I think, but it is really nice, very quiet. Everything you need is here. I showed you a few things before, but what I didn't show you was the size of the sites. So this is us. That's site number 5, which we're going to be moving to today. So every site comes with a fire ring, a picnic table, a tub of firewood, and a trash can. There's a large wooded site between each of the RV sites, so there's plenty of room. It was full over the weekend, but as you can see, during the week, it really empties out. So we actually snagged an extra night. So we're going to stay here one more night before we start heading south. But right now we're having coffee and breakfast. We have some cinnamon rolls that we bought in Calumet the other day. So we want to eat those before they get stale. Today, we're going to head up to Bond Falls, which is about 20 miles north of here, back into Michigan. And then we're going to stop by the Ottawa National Forest Visitor Center. We've never visited a national forest, so we want to see what that's all about. But we also want to maybe check out a camping site back in the woods. We've never been to one. We want to see how hard they are to get to. Again, we don't have four-wheel drive, so we just want to take a look. Last night, I didn't really sleep that well. In the middle of the night, Janetta woke up and shut off the fans and the vents in the camper. About 4 o'clock, maybe 5 o'clock, I wake up again and I open the fans back up. Go back to sleep for a little bit, and finally we're both up about 6 o'clock. I asked Janetta, why'd you wake up in the middle of the night and shut off the fans? And she says there was a storm. It rained like crazy out there, thunder and lightning. I'm like, I didn't hear any storm. She says, well, it did. I don't know how you could have slept through it. So we went about our morning. I made some coffee, and then I stepped outside. Everything was bone dry. The dirt pads that we were on were completely dry. There was no water in the chairs that I left out last night. So I go back in, and I asked Jeanette, are you sure it rained last night? She says, yeah, I heard it. It was raining. It was raining hard. Like, there's no evidence that it rained at all outside, Janetta. Everything's just bone dry as it can be. So after a couple of interrogation sessions, she finally said, you know what? I was watching a YouTuber last night, and he was camping in a heavy rainstorm. I probably fell asleep to that, and it became part of my dream. And that's when I woke up and closed the vents. Women. As we headed north back into Michigan, we passed by the Forest Service Visitor Center, and it turns out it was closed. So we headed on to Bond Falls, which was just a short 20-minute ride from the campsite.
Oh, thank you.
After a 10-minute walk along a mostly level path, we made it to the falls.
Well, you can definitely hear the falls.
And I do have to say, we saved the best falls for last. And we'll leave it there for this episode. Tomorrow, we're going to be starting our journey south. We plan to take about 4 or 5 days to head home, but Hurricane Debbie is heading for the coast of Florida, so we may extend the time that we take to get there to avoid the storm. We'll see you next week as we head south to Manitowoc, Wisconsin.